And we're live. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. How's everyone doing today? It's a Friday deadline, and it is Gameweek 9, and we are just under an hour away from the deadline. Let me turn the volume down a bit. There we go. How's everyone doing? Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you all tuning in for another deadline stream. Before we jump in, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all the recent influx of subscribers that we had. This music's way too loud. Let me turn it down. There we go. Yeah, quick thank you to all the new influx of subscribers. We hit 13k last night, which was another milestone. So thank you so much for that. As many of you probably saw, I posted a video a week or two ago on the biggest FPL score of all time, which I've been working on for ages, and it's gotten almost 60k views, which is absolutely crazy for a channel of my size. So thank you so much for that. And again, thank you for being here for the deadline stream. We've got Naresh, Ayush, Banani, Captain Jack, Cheekster, Danny C, Fiona, Fuzi, Penguin, Grove last name, HN2000, James Yap, Milos, Mohammed, Rijby, and Yanan. What a name to finish on. And we've got Yanan here as well, apparently. So thank you to Yanan for being here. How's everyone doing? So this is my team. I have made a change. So Lukaku's left the team. Obviously in the Gameweek 9 video I posted earlier this week, I had Lukaku. And of course, Lukaku picked up the injury. So Lukaku has left the team. That's obviously the big news of the week. And in my case, it was Tony that I brought in. And it looks like he could be out for a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. Could even be more. So what have you guys done with Lukaku? Who have you replaced him with? Is there anyone in chat who brought Lukaku in before the injury? Because there was like a good 110,000 managers brought Lukaku in, so they've definitely been burned by the early transfer. I think, who was it? Was it James? Someone asked about Saka. So we'll go to Saka next. Makes it sound like I've got Saka here for the stream. Saka's not here, but there's a photo from training. I think it was posted early today. So Saka's in training, which is good news for Saka owners. Whether or not he makes a start in 11, no one knows, but he is at least in training, so that's good news for Saka owners after that injury that forced him off at half-time last game against Palace. Good news for Antonio owners as well. So this was the Europa League lineup last night, and Antonio wasn't even in the squad. And Moisey said it was basically to prepare him for this weekend, where he's up against Tottenham, so that's good news as well. On to a little bit of Man United news. Solskjaer said that Fernandes is a doubt ahead of the Liverpool game on Sunday. The big fixture for this game week. So I've just seen this photo down here. Twitter does crack me up. So yeah, Fernandes is a doubt for the game basically, which is obviously bad news for those of you with Ronaldo. He might not make the game week. We'll have to see. Anyway. Hope you're all well. Thank you again for being here. I'll do my best to get through the messages in chat. If I miss any, I do apologise. Million says, Azpilicueta or Reece James? So Azpilicueta's the safer pick. Much more nailed than Reece James. Because he can play in centre-back or in right wing-back. Whereas in James's case, he only really plays in right wing-back. So James is more of a risk. And I was unfortunately on the wrong side of that risk last game week. Because obviously he only got a single point against Brentford, coming on very late in the game. So hopefully he plays against Norwich this game week, because it is a very good fixture, which we'll get to later with the bookies odds. Yeah, and James, he actually came on Wednesday when Chelsea played Malmo in the Champions League. James did come off for the last half hour or so. So hopefully Tuchel's just giving him some minutes ahead of this weekend's fixture against Norwich. Ayush says, Sponsy or Marcel? Sponsy. Mohammed says, I brought Lukaku. Oh, you didn't. You did the early transfer. See, this is the thing. It's one of those mistakes you make and you learn the lesson, and then, next time you hold out on your transfers, because it's not really worth the risk. In fact, I remember I did a stream last Sunday after Game Week 8, and someone had already made a move. I think, I forget who it was now, but they made an early move, and I basically said to them, it's a bit risky to make a move this early because, what if someone gets injured in the Champions League? And Sod's Law, someone did. Marticus says, Kane's the best Lukaku replacement if you can afford it. Yeah, Kane's an interesting one. Very low ownership. Got his first Premier League goal of the season. He's been doing okay in other competitions. And I do think Kane's actually going to become a good pick very soon. especially because the Spurs fixtures do turn. I'll just pull up Son. Again, I think Son's going to be a good pick as well. But if you look at the fixture run, they've got West Ham, then Man United, then Everton. Although these are classed as red, I don't think they're actually that tough of fixtures. But beyond that, this fixture run here, Leeds, Burnley, Brentford, Norwich, Brighton. So I do think a lot of us are going to be looking to pick up Kane or Son for that run of games. And obviously last season, Kane and Son were both outstanding picks. Captain Jack says, Ronaldo and Benrahma to Havertz and Aubameyang for a -4. I like the moves. I do like the moves. And I'll explain why shortly when we get to the expected points or predicted points for Game Week 9, because Havertz is way up there. Did I miss a donation? It was Tim. Tim says, like and subscribe, everyone. Wish me luck with Havertz. Another Havertz owner. Havertz captain, even. And he says, what's the late news on Jimenez? Heard something happened to him. Yeah, so there was a rumour that he was back late to training. I was actually trying to pull it up just before I went live. And for some reason the tweet was deleted, so I didn't have much on that. But apparently he'd missed a couple of training sessions. But he was filmed training yesterday. So yeah, he's touch and go for the weekend, Jimenez. Unfortunately for Jimenez owners. But good luck with the Havertz captaincy. Stormwild says, White or Traore to start? That's a tough one as well. I think if I had both of them, I might gamble on Traore. I believe he started last game week and got an assist, so I think I would back the attacker. Not much in it between the two. RJBE says, Bowen as a captain, good. I wouldn't say so. No, Bowen, no, not really. I don't think he's got a very high ceiling for this weekend. Although he's playing Tottenham, of course, who have been leaking goals. Again, which we'll get to later, because I have prepared a little bit of underlying defensive data. But yeah, I'm not sure about Bowen as a captain pick. I think there's other better options. Let's get on to the Scout Selection for Game Week 9, which is as follows. I'll just read out in case we've got any audio listeners. McCarthy in goal, interesting one. In defence, they've got Azpilicueta, Laporte and Digne. Salah gets the armband for the Man United game. Son, Havertz. Havertz makes the team. Rafinha, Townsend, Vardy and Antonio. What do you guys think of the team? For anyone who's wondering what all the hype about Havertz, where it's come from, obviously Lukaku picked up the injury in the Champions League, so he's going to be out for a few game weeks by the looks of it. And likewise, Werner also picked up an injury, so Chelsea's basically the next best option up top is Havertz, so he could well be playing out of position. And obviously he's got a very, very good fixture as well, Norwich at home at Stamford Bridge. So that's where the Havertz hype has come from. Yeah, interesting team this one. Antonio does make the team again. He has been very disappointing. I think he's had just a single attacking return in his last 5, which is obviously not great, but his underlying data is good. Last game week, even game week 8, he had the second biggest XG underperformance of all players. He had an XG of 0.88, but failed to score. So I don't think it's the worst idea to hold on to Antonio, certainly. Navesh says, Chilwell captain punt. Yeah, I like it. It's a good punt. Scored 2 in his last 2. Chelsea top for the clean sheet odds, obviously. It's not the worst idea. Salah's obviously going to have the highest effective ownership. I think he's the most popular pick. We will have a look at the captain poll results later, but obviously a lot of people voted on our captain poll before the Lukaku injury news. So what we might do is we'll do another captain poll on this stream. Vijay says, Harry Kane, captain on the Kane, anyone? Kane's a very interesting captain pick. I don't know if I'd go captain, but I do think he's a very good pick to have in your team right now. Obviously, in my Game Week 9 team selection video, I had Salah, and that has remained the case. Salah gets the armband for me. It's hard to look past him with the form he's in. I mean, look at his Game Week history. He's blanked once all season, which was back in Game Week 2 against Burnley. Other than that, he's returned in every game. Incredible form, even in other competitions. Liverpool beat Atletico Madrid 3-2 in the Champions League, and again, Salah got a goal and an assist. And this season alone, Salah's scored against the likes of Chelsea, Man City, so although it's a derby and it could be a cagey game, I think he's still a very good pick. Miar says Eduard's the best player on the planet. Fair play. Anyone here got Eduard? Tip the Soup says Havertz captain. Yeah, again, I think Havertz is a reasonable captain choice. Huge differential. What's his ownership? Does anyone know what Havertz's ownership's looking like at the moment? Must be under 10%, maybe under 5%. Ayush is another Eduard fan. I know that for a fact. Naresh asks a good question. He says, why didn't you go for Vardy? It was a really difficult one between Tony and Vardy. And the plan was to get Tony regardless. I'd left myself with 0.4 in the bank to get Tony in for Armstrong, who's been an absolute disaster since I picked him up last game week. But so Tony was going to come in either way, and I do think he'll do well over these coming games. Maybe even as well as Vardy, honestly. So I just felt I'd go for Tony and then make a later decision of Vardy if I still wanted him, because I've got the money in the bank. I've got 5.6 in the bank now, so I've got plenty to use. And obviously if I don't go for Vardy, I've got the option to move anyone around. You know, Smith Rowe could become Son, for example. But yeah, Tony's fixtures, very good fixtures. Leicester continue to leak goals. Burnley, Norwich, Newcastle, you know, they're towards the worst in the league for you know, expected goals conceded and that sort of thing. Panar says -4 Ronaldo to Vardy. I don't know if I'd do a -4. Not sure about that. Havertz is 5.7% owned. Okay, fair enough. 7.3. Fiastra Mooney says Saka's playing. Yeah, but like I said, we saw him in the training photos, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Saka starting. It was Odegaard that actually made way last game week, and Pepe started ahead of him. So yeah, I wonder if we'll see the same lineup or if someone will make way. Something I wanted to highlight on this stream. It's a little way off, yeah, but this is the potential African Cup of Nations call-ups in the Premier League. And this isn't until Game Week 20, but I thought I may as well highlight it now because I saw The Athletic did a piece on it. And you can see here there's a huge you know, amount of players that could potentially miss up to 6 games. So that would take them out of Game Week 20 all the way to Game Week 25. And there's some significant names here. You know, from a team perspective, you know, Arsenal are going to miss the likes of Partey. We won't miss him from an FPL perspective. But from an FPL perspective, players like Aubameyang, Zaha, Mendy in goal for Chelsea, Salah, Mane. I mean, Salah and Mane, if they're both out for an extended period, that could derail their title hopes, in my opinion. Mahrez, I don't think Pep will miss him that much. Ismail Assar, Ben Rama. So there's some significant names here that could be expected to miss up to 6 game weeks, depending on how far they go in the African Cup of Nations. Now, I really wanted to highlight this team as well because this is absolutely mind-blowing. So this team is called Planet Zombies, and they're currently ranked 11k overall, and they've not made a single transfer all season. This is their team since Game Week 1. They made the team. I don't know if they've forgotten about it or what, or forgot their password or got hacked. I don't know, but not a single transfer all season, and they're ranked 11k. They're ranked better than me, and they've not even touched their team since Game Week 1. Absolutely incredible, that. But yeah, this is my team. This is how I'm lining up. So yeah, hopefully this game week James starts. Hopefully this game week Diaz starts after their unexpected benchings last game week. But I'm feeling fairly good about the team. Mardy says Salah or Havertz captain. I think that one depends on your risk tolerance and where you are in the ranks. Salah's obviously the safe pick, and if Salah hauls and you've got him captain, you're not going to make as much ground as if Havertz hauls and outscores Salah. So yeah, it just depends on your risk tolerance there. In my case, definitely I'm happy to have Salah. I do think he's one of the best options anyway. Best option in my team anyway. Josh says, it seems like everyone's taking -4s this week. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to see a lot of hits this game week off the back of the Lukaku injury. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, a lot of people made early transfers and were burnt by that. You know, 110,000 managers picked up Lukaku before his injury. So that's at least 110,000 managers that have a fire to put out before, you know, they've done anything else. I've got a question for everyone in chat. Can you name the most transferred in player this game week, heading into Game Week 9? The most transferred in player. Narish says, who do I start, Livramento or Saka? That's a difficult one. I think I would probably go for Saka. But not much between the two there, because Saka is a little bit of a doubt, but I think I would go for Saka. I tend to back the attacker when I'm looking at a defender or a midfielder. Bryce Malone reckons it's Vardy. VJ reckons it's Vardy. Chilwell guess in the chat. Mohammed, Visak, Sujit. Sujit, how you doing? Didn't see you there, mate. A lot of guesses for Vardy. You're dead right. It was Vardy, the most transferred in player. Almost 1 million have transferred in Vardy. Could well be over 1 million by the time we reach the deadline. Let's refresh, see if that's updated. It is. Wow, that's gone up 500k just in the last half hour. So 1.2 million managers have picked up Vardy. Obviously, a lot of them have moved Lukaku on, so he's an obvious pick with the form he's in. Arguably in the second best form in the league after Salah right now. Five goals in his last 4 games. Townsend's up there, interestingly. Chilwell, Havertz, not surprising to see Havertz up there. Looks a good option. 250,000 managers somehow still don't have Salah. Azpilicueta, Cancelo, no surprise to see them up there. Cancelo, the top scoring defender in the game. Tony's up there as well, so I guess some people like myself went Lukaku down to Tony. I won't ask if you can name the most transferred out because it's probably an easy one this game week. Almost 1.5 million have shifted Lukaku on, and almost 700,000 have shifted Ronaldo on. Alonso, the bandwagon is over. The Alonso bandwagon, almost 400k, getting rid of Alonso. Jota, obviously very frustrating one in game week 8, as Liverpool scored 5 against Watford, but Jota not even making an appearance off the bench. Sam says, will Jimenez start? Really difficult one to answer that. There were some rumours that he missed a couple of training sessions, so we're not really sure. And obviously last game week he was benched, so yeah, no one can really say right now. I thought he would come back into the team. That was what I thought would happen. But then off the back of this news that he's missed a couple of training sessions, I don't know. ASMR stream. Can you hear this? Maybe not. Mohammed says, is Christensen going to start? I would imagine so, yeah. But Christensen's certainly a rotation risk. As are most of the Chelsea defence, to be honest. They've got a lot of options that can play in centre-back. We've even seen Malang Sarr come into the team, and he's done fairly well in centre-back. They've obviously got the likes of Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, Rudiger, Christensen, as we mentioned, Chalobah. So there's a lot of options that can play in centre-back, so there is that rotation risk there. Narish says, Sanchez or Foster? Is that who to start? If it's who to start, you'd have to start Foster. Maybe we'll take this opportunity to get onto the clean sheet odds. I think it has to be Foster purely on the clean sheet odds, but whether Foster continues playing after conceding 5, we'll see. Oops. Let me zoom out. There we go. So I've lifted this graphic straight from my roundup videos. For those of you that watch those, you're probably familiar. And obviously Chelsea top on the clean sheet odds by a long stretch. 62.5% chance of a clean sheet. Man City in second for the Brighton game. Everton in third, obviously facing Watford. But I did read earlier that Calvert-Lewin's apparently out for another 5 weeks. So that's a big miss in Everton's attack. Maybe Ranieri can start to turn them around, but he's got a big job on his hands, that's for sure. At the opposite end of the spectrum, Norwich rock bottom, 8.5% chance of keeping a clean sheet at Stamford Bridge this game week. There's Watford, so 17% chance. Aston Villa, 19% chance they're away at the Emirates. The bookies actually given Liverpool a better chance of a clean sheet for the derby against Man United. And onto the goal scorer odds. This is obviously presuming that the player starts, and that's not always the case, but that's how the bookies do it. And obviously Lukaku's not going to start, but second's actually Aubameyang, 38.5% chance of scoring against Aston Villa at the Emirates. Salah is in joint second, ignoring Lukaku, 37% chance of a goal, along with Ronaldo. Sorry, Werner as well. I missed Werner, but obviously he's going to miss game week 9 as well, because he got an injury too. Tony's up there actually, 34.5% chance. Yeah, I'll be delighted if Tony can get me something this game week, because It might be a difficult game against Leicester, but I've picked him up for the next 4 or 5 fixtures. I think Tony's an easy long-term hold. Faraz asks, will Phil Jones start? Yeah, I imagine he will. Probably the best centre-back in that Man United side. Mohammed says, should I transfer Christensen out? No, I wouldn't transfer him out. Milos asks, Raya or Foster? I would go Raya, definitely. Omar says, do I get rid of Lukaku for a 4-point hit because of price drops? I would never make transfers purely because of price drops. I would make them, because it's an improvement to your team. So if you're selling Lukaku and getting Vardy, or getting Tony, or getting whoever, you're doing that because it's an improvement. You don't want to be making transfers because of price drops. 0.1 in team value is going to be worth way, way less than 4 points to your overall score. I'll put it that way. Andreas says, Hudson-Odoi, thoughts? Interesting on Hudson-Odoi. I imagine he's going to be quite nailed for the next few because of the injuries they have, but I don't think he's worth punting on as an FPL option. I think if I was going for a Chelsea midfielder, I'd go for either Havertz or Mason Mount. Naresh says, who's your favourite club? I'm an Arsenal fan. Got the Arsenal cap on. Unfortunately. But it feels good to have Smith Rowe on my team because I don't normally own Arsenal players. And likewise Ramsdale, even though they did absolutely nothing for me last game week. Sabra Cyan says, do you prefer Gray or Townsend? I prefer Gray. Mickey says, Aubameyang captain. Yeah, don't mind the Aubameyang captain. I think he's a reasonable option. Let's take a look at the predicted points, courtesy of FPL Review, for Game Week 9. And it is as follows. So Havertz is actually top on the predicted points, with 6.59 predicted points. Surprised to see him up top, but then again, it makes sense with the Lukaku and Werner injuries, because I suppose he will be the furthest forward in that Chelsea side. Salah's second with 6.13 predicted points. Mount in third. Obviously, the algorithm heavily favouring Chelsea to put a few past Norwich, which wouldn't surprise me. But Norwich have actually improved a little defensively over the last few. I think they've got 2 clean sheets and 2. But yeah, as you can see, Aubameyang is up there, 4th on the predicted points, 5.37. Closely behind him is De Bruyne on 5.26 predicted points. So yeah, this is FPL Review. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but it's a really good website for decision making and kind of choosing between players. Ian Voodoo says, James or Chilwell? If I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go Chilwell, but neither of them are safe. But it wouldn't surprise me if Chilwell does or has established himself back in that team as the first choice left wing back. Last Q says, why Livramento on the bench? It's purely because the other players, the other 11, I think could do better. But yeah, it's a shame to bench him because he could get a clean sheet again against Burnley. Wouldn't surprise me at all, but there's not anyone here that I'd really want to bench. Smith Rowe's probably got the lowest ceiling of all the players here, but I have to start Smith Rowe for the home fixture against Villa. Naresh asks a good question, which is, does the Arsenal bias affect your selection? No, definitely not. I very rarely even have Arsenal players, to be honest with you. Purely because there's not actually that many good Arsenal FPL options. This season, a few have emerged as budget options like White, Ramsdale, Smith Rowe, but no, it doesn't really affect my decision making much. Aubameyang's an interesting one. He could actually become a very good option too, and I think he's been overlooked as a Lukaku replacement. I think most people are going for Vardy and Tony, those sorts of players, but yeah, don't rule Aubameyang out. I'll say that. James says, Saka or Mbumo, which one to bench? Saka. Mohammed says, Ronaldo out? Depends who you're getting rid of him for, and if you've got the free transfers. He's certainly not justifying his price tag. I think he's 12.5 still, unless he's dropped again. But yeah, he's definitely not justifying the price tag. So yeah, I don't dislike the idea of getting rid of Ronaldo if you've got him. Even though he did come in clutch in the Champions League yet again against Atalanta with that late header. What a header that was, by the way. Pancho says, which duo is better, Mbeumo and Jesus or Foden and Tony? I think I like Foden and Tony more. Yeah. Mackie says, would you start Sarr or Livramento? Sarr. Again, back to the attacker. You know, with Livramento, you're really just hoping for a clean sheet at best. If you're really lucky, maybe he gets an assist or something like that. But, you know, Sarr, it's well within his capability to get a goal or an assist or both. So we're at about the halfway mark. So let's play a round of Who's That Player. If anyone's not played it before, you'll be shown a cutout of a player. And I need your guesses in the chat who the player is. We'll start off with a nice easy one. So guesses in the chat, everyone. Who's that player? I'll attempt to get through a few more questions while you get your guesses in. Skeet says Salah or Havertz captain. Yeah, that one depends on your risk tolerance. Salah's the safer pick. Havertz is a huge differential. You know, if Salah goes on to blank and Havertz hauls, and you've got Havertz captain, you're absolutely laughing. You're going to fly up the ranks. The guesses are in. Yeah, it was an easy one to start off with. Okay, the first one was Salah. On to the next one. Who's that player? The Egyptian king, as Sujit calls him. I think he has to be the best player in the world right now. Does anyone disagree with that? I think that's fair. The form he's in right now. You know, Ronaldo, Messi, they're obviously absolutely incredible players. You know, over the course of their career, better players, but right now, best player in the world. Maybe you can make the case for someone like Lewandowski or Haaland, but I think it has to be Salah. Oh, is that an easy one as well? Okay. All right. It was Cancelo, that one. Let's see who else we got here. All right. Who's that player? Oh, that's a good one, yeah. Benzema as well. Yeah, Benzema's in ridiculous form right now. Sujit says bench defender. I hope you're wrong, Sujit. I'll tell you that. He better be wrong about that one. William, Babratman, Abdulrahman, Vinay, Harry, Cheekstar, all got it. It was Reece James. Alright, I think these ones are too easy, aren't they? What about this one? Who's that player? William says, getting Havertz, Son or Foden? Tough one. I think I would go for Son between those three. But Havertz does have a high ceiling this game week as well. Depends if you've got your wild card as well. Because if you've still got the wild card, you could afford to take a punt on someone like Havertz. And if it goes wrong, you can reverse back out of it. But Son looks a very good long-term pick to me. It's not Foden. It's not Azpilicueta. It's not Firmino. It's not Ramsdale. Not Cancelo. Oh, this one's got you. Not Rafinha. Not Torres. Not Edison. I don't think it's Cancelo again. No, it's not Cancelo again. It's not White. It's not Bernardeschi. Not Barkley. Oh, no one's got this one. Not Mahrez. Not Ake with the new haircut. Not Phil Jones. Not Jota. Not Torres. Not James. Oh, one person has got it. One person's got it. It was Sujit who got it. It was Tony. Alright, we'll do one more. Guesses in the chat. Who's that player? Surely everyone can get this one. Cheeks have got 2 out of 3, not bad. Everyone should get this last one. I think the hair's the giveaway, right? 7MD guesses KDB. Tyler guesses KDB. Omar says KDB. Vinay, Keith, Mitchell, William, Ashley. Alright, there's a lot of KDB guesses in the chat. And it was indeed KDB. I think what we'll do in a minute is we'll do a new captain poll, because all the captain polls were done pre-Lukaku injury. So I think if we do another captain poll, that'd be quite interesting to see who you've all gone for as your captain. So we've got less than half an hour till the deadline. If anyone's got team questions, player questions, feel free to put them in chat and I'll do my best to answer them all. Thank you again everyone that has tuned in so far. If you are enjoying the stream, do hit like and subscribe to the channel. It's much appreciated. Mackie says, would you gamble on Vardy as a captain? Yeah, I don't even think gamble's the right word. Gamble in the sense that it could backfire if Salah outscores Vardy, but I think Vardy's a very reasonable pick. You know, like I say, he's got 5 goals in his last 4, so after Salah, he's the most informed player in the league. So I think he's a very reasonable option. But it depends, you know, where you are in the league, or where you are in the ranks, you know. Sorry, my dog's just woken up. He's having a huff and a puff. He's pissed off about something. What? Yeah, I mean, Salah's the pick to go for if you want to protect your rank. I'll put it that way. But I think Salah's probably even still a slightly better pick than Vardy, but they're both very good options. Milos says, Son or Salah for captain? I think I'd go Salah. Narish says, show us your dog. I will if he comes over here. Come here. Here he is. Don't know if you can see him or not. Just about. He's a small boy. He's a Chihuahua. I got him during lockdown last year. It was a pretty crazy lockdown actually, because I started this channel as a lockdown hobby last year. You know, because I played FPL for 10 years and I thought, you know, it'd be a good lockdown hobby. I'll just see what happens. And I never ever in a million years thought the channel would be where it was now. And the other thing I did during lockdown was I got the dog. Anyway, Hajir says Bamford out for a -4. Yeah, I think I would. Bamford, you know, he's been out for a while now, and it looks like he's going to be out even longer. He's out for Gameweek 9. Zed says West Ham defenders ? I'm not keen on West Ham defenders. They're not really keeping clean sheets right now, so I don't think West Ham defence is the way to go. Akash says Sarr, Livramento or Semedo. Is this for who to start? I would start Sarr. Will asks KDB, Salah or Chilwell captain? I mean, I've gone for Salah. I don't own KDB, but I think even if I did, I'd probably still go for Salah. I believe KDB and Foden came off early in the Champions League, which is good news. Hopefully, not that I'll pretend I can predict Pep, hopefully that means that they're in line for a start against Brighton this game week. Rashi says Ings or Bowen. What's this for? Who to start? I'll go for Ings. Okay, let's do a captain poll, because I'm interested in who everyone here has voted for. So I'll spam it in the chat, and I think that's the best way to do it. And then we'll have a look at the results live on screen of who everyone has voted for. Let's zoom in a bit. There we go. All right. Hopefully I don't get banned by the bot for spamming. There we go. Get your votes in on the captain poll. So I'll press results and let's just see what happens on screen here. The first vote is in and it's Salah. Oh, I need to I need to turn auto refresh on. I was looking at it, waiting for more votes. All right, I'll keep spamming it in the chat. Get your votes in on the captain poll. Let's see who you've all gone for. And if you voted for other, then put it in the chat. Vinoto says Mbumo or Livramento. Mbumo, definitely. A lot of votes for Salah. About 60% of the vote have gone for Salah. Second's Havertz, interestingly. 12% Havertz. Yeah, I'd bench Livramento, Vinoto. Mbumo is a much higher ceiling pick, so I would start Mbumo. No brainer, in my opinion. Babel, how you doing, mate? He says, should I do Chalobah and Alonso, or Chilwell and Chalobah, or Alonso and Chilwell? I wouldn't have Alonso and Chilwell because they're competing for the same spot, so you're only going to have one of them starting max. Chalobah I'm not keen on either. He's a huge rotation risk. If you really wanted a budget player in the... Oh, did I leave Ronaldo off here? I did. Is that what the one vote is? You gone Ronaldo, Sujit? Vincent says Rashford or Sancho, choose one. I would choose neither, honestly, but if I had to choose one, I'd probably go Rashford. I wonder if Rashford gets a start this weekend because Man United might look to soak up the attacks from Liverpool and counter-attack, as we've seen them do before against top sides. But I don't think Rashford or Sancho are good picks. Have you gone Captain Grey, Barbara? Strawberry says Livramento or Jimenez start. I'd go Jimenez. Back the attacker. Always back the attacker if there's not much in it. In my opinion, anyway, because you want to back the player who's got the highest ceiling. You know, if you start Livramento, at best you're hoping for 6 points, aren't you? But if you're starting a player like Mbumo, I know that was one that a lot of people have asked, Mbumo or Livramento. You know, you start Mbumo, he could get a goal and assist, get a couple of goals, couple of assists. So always back the player with the highest ceiling, in my opinion. Same answer to that, Strawberry. Start Jimenez, bench Livramento. Aditya says start Tierney or Trent. Ideally you want to start both, but I would never ever bench Trent. Never. That's I think that's one of the unspoken rules of FPL. Never bench Trent. He's capable of hauling in any game week. It really is. You know, I see him as a midfielder who gets clean sheet points. You know, if we look at his season performances in the past, you know, if a midfielder who cost you 7.5 got you 4 goals and 15 assists, you'd say that's not bad for a 7.5 mil midfielder. And he actually started that season at 7 mil. So you'd say for 7 mil, that's a really good return. But you factor in the fact that he gets the clean sheet points as well. Just a no-brainer to own him, and I would never bench him, honestly. It could be a cagey game, which might play into Trent's hands. If anyone's not in our Discord, there's a link to that in the description. It's a genuinely good FPL resource. It's got loads of handy things like the price changes, the lineups, the live scores, the live points, bonus points. Got a stats bot where you can just chuck in a command, where you can ask the bot to give you feedback on your team. The Gameweek stats, injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading, the news, transfer trends, disaster class. Quite enjoy this one. This is like, you know, everything that's gone wrong, like red cards and goals, missed penalties, and also this. So in Game Week 8, the worst manager, or the manager who had the worst game week, was Galeb Mohammed. He was ranked 5k, and he got 27 points, which was a red arrow to outside the top 100k. And the worst transfers in the top 10k was Barvetran. I'm so bad with names. He took out Chilwell, who got 15 points, of course, for Walker, and he sold Gallagher for Townsend for -4. Absolute disaster class, that. Stuart says, is Antonio captain too mad? It's not too mad, no. I don't think it's too mad. Spurs have been woeful defensively this season, leaking goals. So I don't think it's crazy. I do think there's better options. I think Salah's a better option, and I think pretty much everyone in chat's got Salah. Is there anyone in chat who hasn't got Salah? Make yourself known. Aditya says, start Smith Rowe or Allen. Smith Rowe, definitely. Allen's a defensive midfielder. Joey says, White or Smith Rowe? Smith Rowe. "15 minutes till the deadline." Jesper says, Gray or Sarr for Gameweek 9? Tough one. I think I'd give it to Sarr. But if you've got both, you don't want to be benching both. Skeet says, Salah or Havertz captain? So, according to FPL Review's algorithm, Havertz is actually top on the predicted points. Not by much, but he's actually top. So we'll see what happens in that Norwich game. But with Lukaku and, of course, Werner out, it looks like Havertz will be playing the most forward. So he is a genuine captain option. But one thing that does worry about me, I don't think this has been talked about much, but let me just pull up Chelsea. When you look at this season, he's not actually done much. He had 1 goal in Gameweek 3 against Liverpool. Apart from that, he's been coming off early, or he's been benched, or he's not even played at all. So, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he does well against Norwich, but could be a bit of a trap. Could be a bit of a trap. Anyway, he's not done enough to convince me that he's worth putting the armband on. Whereas Salah certainly has. 12 goal contributions in 8 games. It's astonishing. He's in the best form of his Premier League career. Which, by the way, is going to be such a shame with this African Cup of Nations, because Salah started this season much stronger than he did when he broke the FPL record back in the 2017-18 season. That year he got 303 points, which is the all-time record for points, 32 goals and 12 assists. But these 7 goals and 5 assists are more than he had at this point during that season. But of course, he's likely to miss out from Gameweek 20 onwards. Potentially, as we said, all the way to Gameweek 25. Likewise, these other players here, they could miss up to 6 game weeks. Khaled says, KDB or James captain? KDB. Yeah, I think I have to go KDB. Risick says, White or Livramento? Probably White. Arsenal bias aside, I think I'd go for White. Sarr or Benrahma? I think I'd go Sarr, not much in it. Benrahma or Livramento? Benrahma. I mean, if we look at the defensive stats from the last 4 game weeks, which is as follows. Spurs have conceded the most goals over that period, 9 goals. So they've been really, really poor defensively. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if West Ham do put a couple past Spurs. Could be a very good game, could be an open game. Obviously both of them have had European commitments this week as well. So yeah, I think it's not a terrible decision to start the likes of Benrahma one more time. And likewise to hold on to Antonio. I think it's not the time to sell Antonio. But in terms of expected goals conceded, Watford and Villa worse. Crystal Palace worse for shots conceded on target. And again, West Ham up there as well. So hopefully it'll be a nice open game for those of us with Spurs and West Ham assets. Big chances conceded is actually Southampton worst with 11. So that's another thing to consider. Those of you that are considering, you know, Sarr or Livramento and Boomer or Livramento. Back the player with the highest ceiling. Philip says, thoughts on Jesus? Yeah, Jesus has actually done really well this season, and I don't think many have picked him because they know that Pep's very susceptible to rotating him and others, but he's not been rotated much either. I'm still steering clear personally. I think I prefer Foden, but not the worst pick, Jesus. So yeah, this is my my team for game week 9. I did not plan to make a transfer, as you would have seen on the game week 9 team selection video. The plan was to start Lukaku, so it was a forced transfer, but Tony comes in. Tony was going to be coming into the team anyway within the next game week or two, but yeah, he comes in a little earlier than planned. Hajia, thanks for the donation. He says Jimenez or Tony for Bamford. Tony, absolutely. Yeah, I'd go for Tony. I think Tony's going to be a really, really good pick over this coming run of games. So Leicester have conceded plenty of goals. They're not keeping clean sheets. They're not been as good defensively as they have been. Burnley, likewise, conceding so many goals. Norwich, obviously. Norwich and Newcastle, they're the two worst in the league for expected goals conceded. And big chances conceded. So I think Tony gets some good points over this next 4. Maybe even beyond that. His underlying numbers are very good, Tony. And likewise, I think Mbumo is another good option in that Brentford side. He's only about 5.6. Classified as a midfielder, but playing out of position in striker. So he gets an extra point for a goal. And likewise, he gets a point for a clean sheet if Brentford do keep one. Both very good picks, and I think even a double up is viable, honestly. Ivan says, start Mbumo or Livra. A lot of Livra questions this week, and Mbumo would be definitely my pick between those two, definitely. Always the answer in my opinion is, if you're looking at 2 players, one's a defender who gets you 6 points max, or the other is a midfielder or a striker who could get you anything, then back the attacker. Absolutely back the attacker. Mackie says, I'm planning to do Antonio to Tony next week. Okay, giving Antonio one last chance. What are you going to do if Antonio scores though against Tottenham? What's the plan then? I've definitely got some decisions to make in the coming game weeks, and I know many of you will if you downgraded Lukaku to a cheaper forward like Tony, because in my case it was Tony that came in, and I've got 5.6 in the bank now. So I need to decide where to spend that. It could just be Smith Rowe to Son, something like that. Or maybe I'll go Armstrong up to someone like Vardy, but not sure yet. So I've gone for Tony, who was going to be coming in regardless, and bought myself an extra week to have a look at the data and make a decision. 10 minutes till the deadline, everyone. Thank you so much everyone that has tuned in so far. If you have enjoyed the stream, do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It really is appreciated. We hit 13k subs last night, which is absolutely incredible. But I always seem to be asleep for whenever we hit a milestone. It always happens. I wake up the next day and we've passed a milestone. But at least I was streaming today, so I had the chance to say thanks for that. Barbara says, bro, what do you think about Huang Li Chan? I'm not sure about Huang, honestly. Didn't do much last game week, and obviously Jimenez could come in and start ahead of him. Huang has started with Jimenez, playing down the left like an inside forward. But they've got the likes of Traore who can play there. They've got a lot of players. I think Trinchau's back as well. And Podence is back. So they've got a lot of options in that front 3. So I'm not sure about Huang anymore, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a good pick. I wouldn't be looking to bring him in anyway. Aditya says, great team. Question, bench Gray or Huang? I'd bench Huang. Josh says, who would you start, Livramento or Jimenez? I would go Jimenez. Although there is a chance that Jimenez doesn't start based on the news that we've seen this week. Apparently he missed a couple of training sessions. I'm reading that Curtis Jones is in contention to start for Liverpool against Man United. Thiago's still out injured. Here's an interesting stat. Just read this now, but I think this is worth putting up on screen. So Havertz's record as a centre forward, 24 appearances, and he has scored 13 goals and 2 assists, which is 110 minutes per goal or assist over that period. And obviously with Lukaku and Werner out injured, then there's a good chance that he plays as centre forward, or maybe as a false 9 or something like that. So yeah, it's an exciting gaming for those of you that have picked up Havertz. So good luck to you if you're one of them. Anubav says Laporte starts, question mark. Very hard to predict which centre-back Pep plays. In the Champions League, Cancelo, Diaz and who was it? Walker played the full 90. However, Laporte came off early. So, maybe that's an indication that Pep wanted to rest him ahead of this weekend. But it's very hard to say whether Laporte does start or not. It does look like Laporte and Diaz are the favoured centre-back pairing right now. So if I was to guess, I would say yes, Laporte starts. So he's got a right-footed and a left-footed centre-back starting together. Falzan says Fornals or Traore. I wouldn't pick either, to be honest with you. If you're looking for which to start, probably I'd go Fornals. Foulholt says, who are you looking to get next week with the extra bank money? Not sure yet. So there's a few different options, really. I could go Smith Rowe to a player like Son. I could do Armstrong to Vardy. Or I could just do, a cheaper move. I could do someone like Smith Rowe to Mbumo. I actually don't mind the Brentford double up, in honesty. Maybe I'll take a hit and go Armstrong up to Kane and then decide on where I'll free up that cash, because I haven't got enough to do Armstrong directly to Kane, unfortunately. I'm a little bit short. Adam says Smith Rowe or Sarr. I think I'll go Sarr. Much likelier to get the full 90. And Watford really need to start getting some results, so it's a good game week to target for from a Watford perspective, because the fixtures are very difficult. Braden asks Vardy or Havertz captain. If I had the two of them, I'd be very tempted by Havertz, I'll be honest. I'll just pull up the predicted points again from FPL Review. And Havertz is top on the predicted points. 6.59 predicted points for Gameweek 9, which is the most in the league among all players. Salah is in close second with 6.1. I'm trying to spot where Vardy even is here. So Vardy's all the way down here with 4.49. Would you say that's a bit harsh? Would you say the algorithm is going a bit harsh on Vardy there? Or is that justified for the fixture? Brentford obviously have been very impressive defensively. So it could be a tough game. Rodgers has got some decisions to make. I imagine it's going to be Iheanacho that starts up top. But Daka scored 4 in the Europa League. So who knows? I mean, he's I suppose you could say more informed, but yeah, incredible. 4 goals he scored. And I think they won 4-3, so hell of a game for him. Sammy says captain Azpilicueta. Nasty says Chilwell captain. So a couple of questions about Chelsea defenders' captaincy. And Philip asks Rudiger captain. I think it's not a terrible idea to captain a Chelsea defender. Chilwell's the highest ceiling of the 3, followed by Azpilicueta and then Rudiger. So I don't think it's a terrible decision, no. I do think Chelsea keep a clean sheet. And as we saw, they're top on the clean sheet odds. But it's Salah, isn't it? I mean, how can you look past Salah, the form he's in, and the poor form United are in? I mean, when was Man United's last clean sheet? Man United, let's have a look. They've kept 1 clean sheet in 8 games, and that was back in Gameweek 3. They've conceded 10 goals. So, I mean, the Leicester game was a bit of an anomaly. They conceded 4, but other than that, they were conceding 1 goal. So, not getting rolled over, but certainly not looking defensively resolute. I don't know. I think it's hard to look past Salah. Honestly, the form he's in. 7 goals, 5 assists, 8 games. But Havertz is a very reasonable punt. Arvid says, is De Bruyne good? Is he a good footballer? He's alright. Is he a good FPL pick? I think that's a tougher question because of his price tag. I think players like Foden could come close to him on points. But yeah, he's not the worst option, KDB. I just don't know if he's worth the money right now, in honesty. It wouldn't surprise me if players like Vardy, who are slightly cheaper, outscore De Bruyne over the course of the season. But I do like the look of this Palace fixture at home. Game week 10 is that. I do like the look of that fixture, and that's the sort of fixture that you could captain KDB in. Max asks, Ronaldo to Tony. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I don't think Ronaldo's justified his price tag. Was he 12.5? And he's got, what, 3 goals? He's blanked in the last few league games. So I don't think Ronaldo's worth it. So I think Tony's a good move, yeah. I just realised we've got a minute till the deadline. Make sure your bench is in the right order. Captain's on the right player. Armband sorted. As always, I always post my team on both YouTube and Twitter before the deadline. So since I'm live now, I had to schedule that in earlier. So hopefully that scheduled tweet and scheduled post on the channel went out. I'll check that after the stream. The other thing I'll do after the stream is I'll add a few timestamps just in case there's anyone who wants to jump around. Or maybe people that are watching and catch up. Narish says, where are you from? From London, in England. Ardash says, Foden or Chilwell for captain. I think Chilwell's a reasonable punt. Yeah, I think Chilwell between the two. Foden, obviously, don't know if he's guaranteed to start or whether he plays the full 90. And I think that is it, everyone. We have made it to the deadline. Thank you again so much for tuning into the stream. It's been another really good one. Really enjoyed it. If everyone could drop a like on the stream before you go, subscribe to the channel. Much appreciated. Really, really appreciate you all being here. Crazy turnout for this one. We had Naresh, Ardash, Anezu, Arvid, Ayan, Barbara, Best King, Cyclonic, Jamie, Josh, Max, Mickey, Mr. Ronak, Nasty, Philip, Sammy, Stuart, Sujit, Regard, Wayne, Mr. Marcolin, Wiggle, and Will Wood. Thank you all so much for being here. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. I'm not going to stick around for much longer. I'm going to the cinema tonight, going to see June. So really looking forward to that. It's supposed to be a really good movie. So yeah, I haven't got the time to stick around, but that is it. That's the deadline. Locked in. So on that note, everyone, enjoy the game week, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you on the Discord, no doubt, throughout the game week if you're on there. Cheers, guys.